the repair shop today. How does a goose make a tiger roar?
I've managed to get hold of a goose feather. This is surprisingly tough material.
While stylophile Laurence breathes new life into a fountain pen that holds precious memories.
A big treat is about to take place for this pen because it's not been filled up for about 70 or 80 years. So now we're going to put some ink in it and it'll live again.
The repair shop attracts eager visitors from all over the country. And today's first is Andrew Winter from Shaftesbury in Dorset.
Hello.
Hello.
How are we doing?
I'm Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. Nice to meet you.
Hello.
Hello.
I'm Jay.
Hello, Jay. Nice to meet you.
All right, so you've got a painting for us?
I have a little portrait for you.
Oh, a little
Yes,
one? OK.
Lucia Scalisi has been a conservator of paintings for over 30 years and has the power to bring the most faded of artworks back to life.
So tell us about this painting and how you've got it.
This is my mum, Margaret Jean Handley, as she was then.
Really? Well, congratulations. She's very beautiful, isn't she?
Thank you. Yeah. This was painted by C.J. Frost, who she always told me was her art master at her school.
So how old is she here?
Well, I think 17, maybe 18 in that picture. She inherited this on his death, and this hung in the stairwell. So as you came down from the bedrooms down the stairs into the hall, there would be your mother as a very young person looking back at you, which is slightly strange.
Right.
And it was only when it disappeared and the lonely, dusty shelf was there, you think, well, where's the picture gone? Oh, your father got fed up with looking at me, so I put it in the loft, would have been the kind of standard response.
Yeah.
And that's where it remained. So I haven't seen this for like 35 years. I'd forgotten it existed.
Really? What did you feel when you saw it in the loft after all those years?
And it was quite moving, because then you remember your childhood. So all that bubbled up from the past. And then, of course, having to explain to the 4 grandchildren who this person is and how that fitted into their memory of grey-haired Nanny.
So I can see it's had a little bit of a mishap.
Yeah, I think she's walked into a door or something. I don't know what's happened there.
It's very dirty. I can see, you know, the dust on it and could write my name in it. But for me, it's fantastic because it's in original condition, so nobody's done anything to it.
When we found out after they died and we cleared the loft, there was nothing covering it. It was just propped up in the loft. So it's, you know, that awful thing where people put pictures away and they don't really conserve them properly.
Well,
so
again,
I'm sure this should be lovely because it's a peacock.
Well,
Yeah.
And the colours that we know that are in peacock feathers are sort of reflected throughout the whole painting in her shawl, and this sort of peacock turquoise is absolutely gorgeous, and the background again. So there's references all the way through the patterning. I think it's fantastic.
Yes.
I think you're very fortunate to have such a beautiful portrait.
And we can't thank you enough for bringing it in.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's going to be a treat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
My pleasure. To have the painting restored will be amazing for me, my brother, the rest of the family, because we've never seen it in its true state, and it is a tangible link to the past for 2 generations. This was, you know, a mother and a grandmother, and we're quite lucky, I suppose. Not many people have got a painting that size of a relative in existence that they can pass on to the next generation.
Now, that is a beautiful painting.
It's very beautiful, yeah, and it's great that it's in its original frame, so that's a treat too. So, I mean, the most obvious issues are the damage to the head. So this is all structural to the canvas as well as the paint layer. I'll sort this out before any cleaning takes place.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds like you've got your work cut out. Let's get it to your bench then.
OK, great.
All right.
Yeah, can't wait. So I'm just going to protect this very damaged area where the paint is really fractured. I'm using an acrylic consolidant just to hold this in place so that I can actually take the painting out of the frame. If I didn't do this, there's a chance that all this fractured paint would fall off. So I just need to secure this temporarily. That's it. I can now put this painting face down and start working on the back of it.
as Lucia gets to work on the back of the canvas. Outside, another visitor, Mark from Cambridgeshire, who's brought along a curious item for the expert attention of craftsman David Burville.
How we doing?
Hi.
I'm Jay.
Mark.
Mark.
David, pleased to meet you.
How do you do?
So what have we got in the box then?
Well, this is Tiger.
Tiger?
He's a 130-year-old automaton mechanical toy.
Wow.
It's been in my family for about 100 years. It was originally a gift to my father's elder brother, my Uncle Michael, in about 1920. We don't know exactly from who, but we think from a wealthy godmother of his.
Right.
My uncle passed it down to my father, and it's been with us ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
When I was a child, I remember him coming out on special occasions, and he'd be wound up and would first be kind of wary of him because he makes a low growling noise and he crouches down on his haunches.
Yeah.
And then when he jumps, you know, there are shrieks of part terror, part delight.
Well, he's got some quite large teeth, you know, which would be quite scary to a young child.
Yeah, and splendid whiskers.
Yes, absolutely.
His whiskers have seen better days.
Yeah.
So does he work at all?
He just about still works, but if we wind him up, you'll see him growling, crouching, and maybe, if we're lucky, even jumping.
Right,
Yeah.
Can we wind him up then? Can we have a go?
Sure.
There we go.
Whoa. That is smart.
He doesn't jump quite as often or as reliably as he did. He doesn't growl really very much anymore. His legs are bent, his tail is broken. He's aging like the rest of us.
How come you want to get it restored now then?
Well, my father is in his 90s now,
Yeah.
and has looked after and cared for Tiger for most of his life.
Right.
And my father loves to repair things himself.
Yeah.
Well, I think he recognises that there's so much involved in fixing Tiger that it may be even beyond his considerable skills.
Right.
So it means a lot to me to be able to bring this in for him,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he'll be thrilled when it comes back.
Well, thank you for bringing Tiger, and hopefully we're going to be able to restore him and get him growling and jumping again. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you both.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good to meet
All
you.
right.
Great, isn't it?
It is great.
I'm hoping that if the team here can fix Tiger up, that he'll work again like he did in his youth and be able to delight my children, my sister's children, as he did me when I was a child, and my father and his brother when they were children too.
It does look lifelike, though,
He
doesn't
does,
he?
yeah. He's got a good set of teeth there. I wouldn't want to put my finger anywhere near him. There's quite a lot of cosmetic work. We can see here that the leather has come unglued from places.
Yeah.
The mechanism is obviously working, but it's slow, so it's gummed up and it needs disassembling and cleaning and that sort of thing.
OK. So let's get Tiger jumping again.
That's
eh?
it, yeah, we'll have him leaping away.
All right, let's get him over to you, Ben.
This antique toy was made around 1890 by the revered French company Roulet de Combe. Founded in 1865, they specialized in intricate moving toys, now extremely rare and highly collectible. So David is feeling the pressure.
It's always a bit nerve-wracking taking something to pieces of this age. It's quite possible that this is the first time that this mechanism has been out, so you should just lift away. So the mechanism appears to be in working condition, but it's obviously had quite a lot of oil put in it over the years, and that has gone sticky, and that's slowing the mechanism down. Steve, would you mind coming and having a look at this for me, please? Just want your opinion. This is the Clockwork Tiger.
Oh, right, OK.
This is the motor. It does work, but it's caked in oil.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? I don't think that's ever been a part in its life.
No. Hopefully you can do something with it.
Yeah. OK, yeah, no problem at all.
Thanks
All
ever so much. Thank you.
It's so caked with dirt in there, it's very, very difficult to see all the components. There's certainly an awful lot of wear in one of the bearings here, and I need to re-bush that. And I think the rest is absolutely fine. I'll put it all in the cleaner, and once that's done, as long as it all cleans up, that'll be fine.
Over at her workbench, art conservator Lucia is working on repairing the damage to the family portrait that had been hidden away in an attic for decades.
I'm going to actually do a little tear repair treatment on this tear.
To stabilize the rip, Lucia uses a heat seal adhesive laminated onto nylon gossamer.
If I turn the painting over, you'll see that the facing is still on that patch, which I did to hold all the paint together. So the tear now is actually completely closed up. Structurally, it's stable, it's sound, and now I can start the cleaning process.
Compared to some of the ancient artworks Lucia has restored, this painting is relatively modern. The artist Cyril James Frost painted in the early to mid-20th century, exhibiting in the Royal Academy before he died in 1971. But because this picture was stored unprotected in an attic, Lucia must remove layers of dirt to reveal the beauty underneath.
I really love cleaning it, especially when it's so satisfying because of the contrast between the before and after. It's quite dramatic on this one. There's this beautiful pink and purples and oranges and yellows and greens and blues. I mean, to see these colours come alive in front of your eyes, it's just inspirational. I'm cleaning in the bottom left corner of the portrait where I know there are remnants of signature. And it's a bit curious because I'm using an aqueous solvent here, and whatever's coming off is water soluble. And as I'm taking it off, I'm uncovering some of the feathers of the peacock. So there's an overpaint in here that is coming off, but I can't quite fathom out what's going on. It's a strange colour, and it's definitely an overpaint that isn't oil, and underneath is this pinky colour. And I can see the signature, and it's just dawning on me what's happening. Oh my God, her legs have been painted out. I've got a pair of legs here. This has been painted out at a much later date with a different paint. But there's something going on here because the legs aren't a mistake. You know, they're not something that didn't work in the actual composition. They work. And certainly the signature works because the signature's right across the top of them. So these are being painted out for some reason. Could be to do with modesty. I don't know. It's intriguing. This is why I do what I do. This is the really, like, exciting bit. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's like when it does, it is so thrilling. Wow.
With the surface now clean, Lucia can begin to fill in the area of missing paint.
The area of damage is in quite an important area of the painting because it's a portrait. You always look at the face first. So I'm just going to repair that, and it just takes a while to build that up. I think Andrew will be pleased when he sees this because he was quite upset about the damage when it occurred. It means an awful lot. It's not just a portrait of any woman, it's his mother. So I think he'll be, you know, a lot happier to have this back all in one piece and know that it's secure. I'm nearly at the edge now with this filling, so I'll let that dry off. And then I'm going to put the first coat of proper varnish on, and then on top of that, I'll start the retouching in this area. So that's the next stage.
Across the workshop, David's earning his stripes on the automaton tiger.
So I'm just removing the legs at the moment. Fortunately for 130 years old, the screws are actually reasonably loose, so they're coming out nicely. So we've now got the exposed metalwork. My main concerns are where the legs are actually riveted onto the shafts. This one is very loose. This we've got to sort out. The problem is with this that you've got brass which is very, very old. If it's under stress, it can crack, and so we've got to be a little bit careful. That's nice and firm now. That should last many years.
Meanwhile, Steve's trying to put the spring back in Tiger's step, unleashing all his clockwork know-how on the little motor.
This mechanism has come up really well, just being dipped in the cleaner and then brushed through, so I'm really pleased with that. The top bearing of the fly, the actual bearing is very, very worn. I need to open up the old pivot hole just enough so that I can push this bush in friction tight, and then that should help the Tiger to jump. There's 100 or more years of wear to the hole, so maybe this bush will last for another 100 years. Good, that's the bushing done, so I just need to get it all together and test it and get it over to David.
While Steve works his magic on the clockwork, David turns his attention to the battered body of the Tiger.
So the body is made out of paper mache, but where he attaches to the wooden body, it's obviously been damaged. His body's been pulled away from his base plate. So we're just tearing off little pieces at the moment, and then I'm just putting a bit of thinned hot animal glue onto the paper, just moulding it round to build up the shape again. Paper mache was used because 130 years ago, of course, you didn't have plastic, and paper mache does have a little bit of flex and movement, so for something like this, it was the ideal material, really.
Steve's back, his repair on the clockwork mechanism complete.
Oh, it looks fantastic. Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
I'll wind it up and show you. There's a lot of power in it now.
Yeah.
I've pushed the top of the fly as well, so
yeah.
It's not rattling around. But
no.
You see how much wind that's creating?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that is really, really strong. That's going to jump a mile.
He's going to be really, yeah. we're going to have to hold him by the tail, I think.
Yeah.
God, that's incredible.
OK, all right.
Thank you. Cheers.
But it's not just the Tiger's movement that was an issue. His once powerful roar is now more like a meow. And David wants to get him loud and proud again.
I'm going to have a look at his growling mechanism. This is effectively a miniature drum, and in the centre, this is actually a piece of feather quill, and that rubs up against the governor when the Tiger crouches, causing him to growl. But unfortunately, on this side, it's snapped and it's come loose. So I'm just going to wet the inside of the drum skin. That's just moistened the glue, and that's released the old quill from the skin. I've managed to get hold of a goose feather. There should be plenty of material here to cut the new quill. It's hollow, but it's a surprisingly tough material. And then I should be able to cut a tapered section from that. I've not done something like this before. This is the fascinating thing, that you're learning yourself. So I'm going to just shave that down either side to a taper, and then hopefully that's going to work and we'll get the tiger roaring again.
It's the moment of truth. Has the tiger got his voice back?
So he's now growling and he's carrying on in his cycle. So I'm going to start screwing his legs back on now.
Meanwhile, outside, another new assignment is arriving. Sharon Wilkinson from Enfield, accompanied by her uncle David, has brought a precious gift that needs specialist attention.
How do you do? I'm Kirsten.
Nice to meet you. I'm Sharon.
Sharon.
Hello, I'm Laurence.
So, what have you got for us?
My grandfather's fountain pen.
Laurence Oldfield is a fountain pen expert and historian.
I got it from my grandfather as the first of his grandchildren to graduate from university. And it's a Wyvern pen. It's been bossed into the barrel. And unfortunately, it's never worked. But it's a pretty thing, and it was Grandad's, and he was given it for going to a very good school. But he was one of 14 children.
14 children?
Yes. And education wasn't free in those days. And so he, sort of had to leave school as soon as he could to start earning a living.
To receive this pen, then, must have been actually quite something special.
Yes, I think that's why it was special to him. And I was able to fulfil the things that he wasn't able to do, sort of to go to university. And you always want children and grandchildren to have a better life than you've had. And I think I'd achieved it as far as he was concerned. And it was, sort of a well done, Sharon.
And he was proud of you, having got that far in your education.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah. You know that, yeah.
The only clever one in the family.
Do you know if your grandfather ever used the pen?
I believe that he did. My mother remembers it when she was young, in the sort of late 30s.
OK, right.
And being told not to touch it.
Right.
But it hasn't been in use for some time.
Of course, a pen of that quality would have been very special in those days.
Precisely.
Do you know very much about the Wyvern Pen Company?
I know that they started in, I think, 1896.
Well, the story starts with a schoolboy, age 14, and he really wanted to leave school and start his own business.
That sounds like Grandad.
His name was David Finborough. Later on, his two brothers left school as well, and the three of them set up this business, and they did very well. King George VI saw these, and he bought two and was using a Wyvern pen for many years.
I always write my Christmas cards with a fountain pen. I think it's a really nice thing to do, and it's a special thing to do.
Yeah.
And it would be really lovely, because when I write my cards to his family, he'll be writing them with me.
Yes, yes, he'll be with you there.
Yeah.
Yes, lovely.
So it would just mean so much to have it working again, and I'd feel then that I'd really sort of done Grandad Harry proud.
It presents a few challenges, but I'm sure we can do something useful for you.
Great, that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
I did have a really special relationship with my granddad, and I really would love to be able to feel how it used to write when Grandad had it.
A pen that doesn't work is no good to anybody.
No. It looks like it's in quite a sorry state.
There's just a few problems with it. The nib is bent,
it's
and
really
it's very spiky and sharp, and it's not going to write very well.
OK.
So we'll put a new nib in it.
Yep.
A gold nib, as it should have a gold nib in a
Right.
pen of that quality.
Really? OK.
The lever is floppy
Yep.
and needs to be tightened up. And the rubber sack, it needs to be changed. The rubber
Okay.
sack contains the ink,
Right, so the reservoir or...
It's the reservoir.
OK, so there's quite a few bits to...
Quite a few little tasks
yeah,
to do, yes.
OK.
Yes.
Well, it's in the right hands.
The first job in the transformation of this aged pen back into an elegant writing tool is a deep clean.
The ultrasonic tank has got some cleaning fluid in it because 70 or 80 years worth of hardened ink will be inside it, and we need to loosen that.
The next job is to separate the nib section from the barrel. But it's been decades since the pen was last used, and as a result, it's seized pretty solid.
We're gently warming it, the pen, all the way around the joint to help expand the plastic. And this is the most tricky part of the whole operation, in that if you don't do it right, it's possible to crack the barrel and then that pen is destroyed, essentially. So I have to be very careful at this stage. Now we'll see whether it moves. Yes, it does. And it's extracted. I always like to think of the people who have used a pen when I repair it. Has probably written many letters and maybe even done many examinations and had quite an interesting life. So that does give me some enjoyment when I do repairing.
With the missing paint area filled in on the portrait, Lucia can begin to transform the image, beginning with a coat of varnish.
You can see where the painting starts to appear, where the varnish is, and this is saturating the surface. That's lovely. It's a nice glossy saturated look. I'm pleased with that. Clean this away and I'll leave that to dry. I'm at the stage now where I'm going to start the retouching of the portrait. I'm going to make up this flesh colour now with my dry pigments. So if I just test that and see what happens. You see, although it looks quite dark on the palette, it's fairly pale on the painting. There are lots of different types of retouching, but you can see it's a very gradual process, and it's all because I actually don't want to put too much on there. So it all adds up to that whole thing about less is more. But it's making it fit. This is haute couture for paintings.
Repairing the 130-year-old mechanical tiger toy has been a team affair. Steve's overhauled the mechanism, David's restored the growl, and now Susie's giving him some finishing touches.
I'll clean his eyes, a little bit of dental work as well.
With teeth, growl and prowl now restored, the tiger makes his way back to Cambridgeshire, where Mark is preparing to present him to his father, David, for whom Tiger is a precious piece of family history.
The tiger's important because he's just about the only toy handed down from generation to generation. I must have known him for about 88 years, and then my children and their children, and the youngest of them all is Georgia, and she will no doubt, I hope, hand Tiger on to her children.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
There he is.
Wow.
He feels much more robust, actually. He doesn't feel as if his top is about to come away from his
His legs
bottom.
have been straightened. Yeah, he was quite bow-legged.
Do you want to be the winder?
1, 2, 3. You ready?
Yeah.
Put him down here. Does he leap?
Oh, that's got real intent. Ooh.
He really made her jump.
Oh, it's a good growl.
Much stronger, isn't he?
He's got much more strength in his back legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The tiger has an extraordinary ability to charm small people generation after generation, and it's nice to see that happen again. He's been rejuvenated, frankly. It's great.
Back at the repair shop, Laurence is continuing to dismantle the antique fountain pen.
There we have the nib and the feed extracted. This is the old damaged nib, which I've just removed. And this is a Wyvern 14-carat nib of the right vintage, which I'll fit to the pen. I've also managed to recover from another old Wyvern pen the right feed. We have to put the nib and the ink feed in intimate contact with each other and to place them within the section that joins the whole thing into the pen. That's it. It's gone in perfectly. So now we're in a good position to put the ink sac on. And to do this, we take a piece of latex rubber tube and glue it onto the back of the ink section with some shellac. The shellac makes it seal so that when the pen reservoir is squeezed to fill the pen, then it doesn't come off or leak around there to let ink out into the barrel of the pen. Now we're in a position to put the pen body back in, but first of all we have to renew the spring that is rusted. So we'll throw that away, put in a new one. It's got to be lined up exactly with the lever so that when the lever is raised, this bar is pushed down and the sac inside the pen is compressed. So we're pushing this up inside the barrel, lined up precisely. I have to make a space between the spring and the pen barrel so that it can be placed in. Years of experience have shown me that I've got to get it just in the right place, otherwise the pen won't operate properly. So now you can see it's got a spring on it.
Lucia has also been drawing on her years of experience in the restoration of the painting, whose owner is due back to collect it. All that is left to do is a final protective layer of varnish.
No matter how many times you do this, you cannot take it for granted because things can always go wrong. But that looks pretty good. I'm really pleased with that. It's a real relief when I've done this spray coat because every single time it's different. Every time it's nerve-wracking. I couldn't be happier. I really couldn't.
The size of this picture means Lucia needs a helping hand to fit it back into its frame.
So we lift it up, just hold the back of the painting and lift the frame. Just tilt it on its edge. As long as we hold the painting in the frame.
Oh, wow. Look how beautiful that looks. That's just like unreal. And there I can see the signatures come up now as well.
Yes, yeah, all that's appeared.
I personally can't believe how great this looks.
Really?
Yeah, no, seriously.
It's really nice to be told that.
So all you've got to do now is just fix this in because Andrew's coming in very soon.
Yes, he is. It'll be ready for him when he comes in.
But you've done, again, a brilliant job. Thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Owner Andrew is back to collect the portrait of his mother as a young woman that had been languishing in an attic for 35 years.
I am slightly apprehensive about seeing it because it's a part of my mother's life that I wasn't part of long before I was born. I've never seen her as a young person, truly. And so it'd be interesting to see her at a time when we have no photographic evidence of what she looked like.
Hello, Andrew.
Hello, Lucia.
Yeah.
How are we doing?
Good to see you.
Likewise.
Nice to see you again.
You ready for this?
Am I ready? Yes, I'm ready.
Yeah.
Shall we just do it?
Okay.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Whoa, that's extraordinary, isn't it? Gosh. Margaret Jean Handley, as she was. My word, that is extraordinary.
Beautiful woman. Wonderful.
Took my breath away there when I saw it. Whoa.
Good.
Whoa.
That's it.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Did you enjoy it?
Of course I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really great. It cleaned beautifully. You don't know how these things are going to clean until you start.
Okay. Wow. And those colours have come out, haven't they? They've come out really well. That shawl, which we couldn't see any of those colours, did we?
It's absolutely this sort of iridescence that is picked up from the peacock feathers, and it's really like a jewel. It's jewel-like colours. And there was another revelation as well during cleaning. She has legs.
Oh, she does!
Yeah, and this whole area had
Yes.
been painted out, and the paint that had been used had taken off all the bottom edge of the feathers.
Why would it have been painted over?
I don't know, you tell me.
OK, well.
I don't know, there are alterations throughout the whole picture, but why they would paint out those legs, because it actually works quite well.
And you've mended where she walked into the wall.
Yes, 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 that was a little tear repair.
Oh, I'm stunned, absolutely stunned. It is a staggeringly beautiful picture. Thank
It's
you
a
so
beautiful
much.
painting. I think you're
Thank
very
you.
lucky to have a painting of your mother. It's really great and looking so beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think Mother should come home with me. There we
Okay.
go, yeah.
I'll give you a hand to the car. then.
Thank you. Ready?
Yeah.
I don't think I was really expecting to be quite so emotional when I saw the picture for the first time. It really was a surprise. It took me off my guard. I mean, it is extraordinary to see a picture of somebody you sort of know but have never really seen in that way as a beautiful young woman. Yeah, it really did bring a lump to my throat. I mean, it's amazing to have someone like Lucia work on the portrait and to bring it back to life. It's so, so good to see, and I'm so grateful that she was able to do such a brilliant job on it.
As Andrew carefully transports the painting to be reinstalled in the family home, fountain pen expert Laurence is ready to see if the pen will now fill.
This is a vintage pen, and in those days one had a bottle of ink, which is water in this case, and you had to put it in there, press the lever, squeeze the ink sac, release again, and then the ink would go into the pen. We just raise the lever again, and you see it come out. So I'm confident that the pen is working now. A big treat is about to take place for this pen, because it's not been filled up for about 70 or 80 years. So now we're going to put some ink in it, and it'll live again.
The first person to write with this newly renovated pen will be owner Sharon, whose grandfather gave it to her when she was the first member of their family to graduate from university.
I'm really looking forward to seeing the fountain pen again, to see what's been done. I really hope Laurence has been able to get it working so that I can write with it again. Hello. Nice to see you again.
Good to see you again, yes.
Lovely to see you. How are you?
I'm fine. Eager. It's not Christmas yet, I know, but it's like Christmas, isn't it? Aww.
Sharon, are you ready to see the pen now and see what's been done to your prized possession?
There it is. Wow, look at it. Oh, it's gorgeous. Oh, it's lovely. Has it got ink in it?
It's got some nice black ink in it. All ready to go, because there's nothing worse than a pen that doesn't work.
So when was this last written with?
I would say the 1950s.
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
It feels strange but familiar. You know, sort of, it's kind of like Grandad's with me. To think that the last time this was used, his hand was holding it. It's really quite strange and emotional. It's brought him closer again.
Yes.
And it's just lovely to have. Thank you so much. Oh dear.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much.
I always like to hear the story behind pens that I restore. It makes such a difference to me as a restorer.
It's just such a wonderful place. Thank you all. When I first started to use the pen, I knew exactly what I was going to write. I knew I was going to write my grandfather's name. Every time I use it to write letters, he'll be with me again. So I'm just so grateful that Laurence was able to repair it. It's just lovely to have.